A few months prior to being diagnosed, Neil developed a really severe cough, and on hindsight, that was the mesothelioma. That was all the fluid in his lungs. Prior to that, he was really tired. He had a sore shoulder. That triggered him going to the doctors, triggered him getting an X-ray, and from that X-ray, they saw a shadow on his lungs, and they knew that something wasn't quite right. I think the first thing is shock and numbness. You just don't want to believe it. You just had to stay strong for him because he was such a positive man. Nothing was going to defeat him, and he wanted to stay positive, but it was very emotional. We were extremely devastated. And when we were given a time frame, we ignored it because Neil was going to live forever. This wasn't going to beat Neil. Reality soon set in, probably a year later, that it was a bit more serious than we wanted to believe. He had chemotherapy, I think, for a month before he passed. He was so determined to fight it and do as much as he could to live as long as he could. He was such a fighter, strongest man we knew. We know he got it from work. It's not think, we know. He was a plumber. He worked as a plumber until he was 62. He worked with asbestos from a very young age. It sits dormant in your body. It can sit dormant for 20 years in your body before it manifests and develops into cancer. So I could just imagine how many people are out there who are ticking time bombs like Neil was. Not just men working in that field, but women and even their wives or their partners or their children. Just one little fibre, I mean, you can have 1 million fibres on your fingernail. One little fibre can cause you to have cancer. We, as a family, want to make people more aware of mesothelioma. It's more common than people think. And you need to go and get yourself checked if you were in that field. It's affected, all of us. He lived life to the fullest, and it was taken away from him for no fault of his own. He worked so hard. He loved his job. He loved plumbing. He was so good at it, and it destroyed him. If your loved one won't go and get checked, you need to push them to get checked and tell them it's just not all about them. It's about you as well. As a wife, as a spouse, as a partner, as a child, make sure the person that you love looks after themselves at work and gets themselves checked for mesothelioma.